Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, coming to you 6 days a week as we interview whitetail experts and hear their traditions and personal stories of the hunt. Learn more about the latest gear, discover proven tips, and the latest strategies so you can make your next hunt a success. Now, here's your host, Bruce Hutchin.
This is Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, episode number 231.
On today's show, you're going to hear from Marti Davis, from Marti Davis Afield. Marti lives in Missouri and hunts in Missouri, Kansas, southern Illinois, and other places for mature bucks. Yes, she lets the small ones walk and harvests a buck over 4.5 years old. That's her goal every single year. Marti and her husband have enjoyed the outdoors for many years together. Hunting in the outdoors isn't just a pastime for Marti, it's her lifestyle. Yes, she's a 365-day-a-year huntress. You might learn something, so grab a paper and pen and listen up. Hey, listeners, don't forget to text 33444 Food Plot for your free Food Plot ebook. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin. We're heading to Missouri today. We're going to catch up with Marti Davis. Marti Davis was on the show, 8-9 months ago. And Marti pens a column, Marti Davis Afield, and that's her website, and that's her blog, and that's where you can reach out to her. So, Marti, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on again, Bruce.
You're welcome. So we wanted to talk about last hunting season. What happened, where you traveled to, what type of game you were hunting, and, of course, talk about whitetails that you harvested or at least got schooled by.
We always get schooled by them, don't we?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Yep. Last season, I can't have any complaints about last season. I hunted the usual, hunted here around home in southwest Missouri. I live in Willard, and I did some hunting here locally, which we're not known for big deer, big whitetails, but there's some whitetails here to get me by until I get over into my hunts in southern Illinois where the big boys are. So, mid-November, actually November 15th, it was the opening weekend of our Missouri rifle season here at home, and I'd actually overslept that morning. I'm going to tell on myself here, I overslept that morning and didn't get out. And, when I did finally get up, I just took my time, got some stuff done around the house, and went out later in the morning and got up on a tripod stand overlooking the food plot area. And before I climbed up in the tripod stand, I went ahead and set a buck decoy out in the middle of that, where this decoy could actually be seen from all four directions from this field. There's little gaps along the edge of this field where the decoy could be seen from the neighboring fields and properties. And midday, I haven't seen much because November 15th, midday, not a lot of traffic through the day, but I was seeing a little bit. And all of a sudden, I had a 3.5-year-old buck coming into the food plot, and he started posturing and stomping and got all furred up, and he was heading right for that decoy. And, I haven't hunted a lot with decoys, so I don't have a lot of experience with them, but, the few times that I have, I've usually had a buck posture and take notice of the decoy. A few times it's also ran deer off, but it was also younger deer it was running off, so that really not a problem with me. Here at home, this is the first buck. I haven't harvested a buck in Missouri. It had been 6 years since I had harvested a buck here in Missouri, mainly because, I'm trying to let them get older, quality deer management, and let the bucks mature, which is hard to do here in southern Missouri. It's more times than not, they jump 2.5-year-old deer jumps the fence, goes on the neighboring property, you're going to hear a gunshot. So it's hard to do. But I do, that's what I want to do, so that's what I do. So I've harvested does off this property for this past several years, and I've had opportunities to shoot younger bucks and pass them up. and it finally paid off this year. I mean, he wasn't a real mature deer, but he was 3.5, 4.5 years old, which for this part of this country is an older deer, unfortunately. You know, a lot of guys say, oh, I can't shoot an older buck, but no, not when you keep shooting them when they're 1.5, 2.5-year-old. And that's fine if that's what they want to shoot. This is just the way I'm hunting this property. And, you know, like I said, that buck come into view. He started posturing across that food plot and was walking right for that decoy. And I didn't let him get quite to the decoy. And I went ahead and put a stop to it and dropped him right there. And so I was very pleased with that, you know, and midday, yeah.
Wow. Now, is that the high time buck you have in the photo you shared with me?
That is not. Well, that was one of the buck photo I sent you, yes. The one where he's in the hooker rack on the front of the four-wheeler, that is the Missouri buck.
Okay. And I'm looking, right now, I'm just looking at this high time buck. What's the story behind him?
That is my Illinois buck from last season. That was December 5th, which was the second season over in Illinois. I hunt Perry County, Pinckneyville area. And, you know, everybody always talks about the Golden Triangle up in central northern Illinois. And they can have it. I'll let them have that. I like southern Illinois. You know, this is a farm I've had the opportunity to hunt for the past several years. So, you know, I go over there several times a year working on cameras, working on shooting lanes, working on shoot houses and tree stands. You know, putting the work in, helping the landowners with the farm however I can. And we run several cameras over there to keep track, you know, keep tabs. You know, when I don't live there, it's hard to keep track of where are you going to go on a 2,000-acre farm. I mean, where do you start? If you don't have the trail cameras out over there doing the homework for you, it's harder to make that decision, you know. We had... I went over last summer and early fall several times, you know, going over and checking cameras, swapping cards out, and I had several photos of that high time buck, and it's from 2 or 3 different cameras in a certain area. So it kind of narrowed down where I wanted to be hunting when I got over there in December. I started using Browning trail cameras last year and really happy with the results, and had several, like I said, several photos of this buck. Again, I'm going to tell myself I actually wanted to let him go one more year from looking at him on the photos.
Oh my goodness!
And I mean, you know, we figure he's probably 4.5-year-old deer. We want him to at least be 4.5, if not 5.5, over on that farm. That's what our quality deer management program is over there. And when it comes again, this was not midday, but mid-afternoon. He come through, and there was this little spike. I mean, I think that was the 3rd day of my hunt that weekend. And this little spike, I had seen him. If I've seen him once, I've seen him a dozen times, different throughout the day, each day. And he had come through again, and it wasn't 5 minutes behind him, this buck come through. And when he did, he was coming through some pretty thick sand and timber, and all I was seeing was the left side of him. And that left side looks really, really good. Especially coming through the trees. And I didn't see the right side where he had busted off his eye guard and the fork on his G3, which
he's a fighter.
He was forked on both G3s, and it just, until I got down on the ground and looked at him head on, I didn't realize it was him. But that's how, you know, the adrenaline gets to pumping, you know, and if it didn't, I guess I wouldn't keep doing it, you know, so.
Well, and listeners, let's see, his G1, the guard horn, is what, 10 inches? His spikes?
Probably, yep.
Yeah, I'm thinking 10 inches, and if that's all you saw coming through woods, I mean, I don't know how you could pass him.
Yeah, like I said, all I could see was that left side, and it looked outstanding. Which I'm not complaining by any means. I'm happy as I could be that I did harvesting, but I was, if I had a few more seconds and realized which deer it was, to be honest, I would have let him go till next year, at least.
Yeah, just an absolutely gorgeous deer. And anybody would be hard-pressed to let him walk.
Exactly. It is hard at times. You know, I call back and I talk to my husband, or I call back and I talk to my brother, and they're like, "You passed these deer up?" I'm like, "Yes, I did."
Well, good for you, because hunting mature deer, one, is a lot of work, and you've got to be pretty good at it to put a 4.5 or older deer on the ground. for one thing, and it gives you the opportunity to let them go so they can grow.
Exactly.
So when you think about, you mentioned 2 hunts, you were sitting midday. Do you typically sit all day, or tell us about your routine on both these hunts? One in Missouri and then the other one in Illinois.
Yeah, it's two totally different ways. That's two totally different ways of hunting when it comes to me and hunting here at home and me and hunting over in Illinois. Here at home, I'll go do the morning and evening thing typically. I might sit all day, but very rarely. They're just sitting there, and Willard, Missouri is not known for big deer. It's also not known for lots of deer, and there's not a lot of deer on this place I hunt. But, it's still worth getting over there and hunting, but I typically just hunt a few hours in the morning, come back in, go take care of some stuff at the house, get some stuff done, go back out in the afternoon for an evening hunt. It's typically how I hunt here. Now, Illinois, I pack for the day. I go in before daylight, and I don't come out till after dark.
So let's talk about going into your stand in the dark. Now, are you taking an ATV right to your stand, a truck, or how do you get into your stand and out of your stand without busting deer?
Number one, try to pay attention to the wind, and that will also determine which stand I'm coming into and also possibly which direction I'll come into that stand. The place I have here in home, I'm fortunate to be able to come in for either the north side of the farm or the south side of the farm. So I will look at the wind and see which way it's going to be the best to get into those stands. And I will take an ATV so far, and then I will park it and I will walk the rest of the way. Now, over in Illinois, we utilize ATVs, and those electric Polaris Rangers are hard to beat. We will take them, sometimes even take them further when we take an actual ATV, simply because they're so quiet and you can sneak around with them. But typically we do park them on edges and walk in from there and pay attention to the wind and get on into our stands.
Now, the stands you have, when do you set them up? Are they August setups or July setups?
The ones here are typically ones that I leave up. I'll go in the end of season and I'll loosen the straps. And then come August, early September, I'll go in, tighten straps, and get ropes hung, and pull ropes for gear and everything like that, and get pads and cushions back on them. Then I also have what I call a shoot house that's on a trailer. So, I leave most of those up year-round and just do my maintenance on them and take care of everything, make sure they're safe still. Over in Illinois, we also have several enclosed elevated shoot houses, and, of course, those are permanent. And in deer stands, it's kind of the same thing with those. We have them in strategic areas already and leave them out year-round, but we do our maintenance and our safety checks on them. Sometimes after we've hunted them a year or two, you realize they're not exactly the right spot. You might adjust them a little bit. So we're doing that. Over there, we don't do a lot of early season bow hunting because they're busy farming still. So some of that doesn't get done over there till mid to late October because we're not actually going to be hunting them until their first season is the week before Thanksgiving. And I usually don't go over there at that time, but the family over there, that's when they start hunting, and so that's when they'll start using them. And then I come over usually the first and second weekend of December is when I'm over there with the muzzleloader hunting.
Now, do you prefer archery, rifle, muzzleloader, or tell me about, the weapons that you use?
Whatever season's open.
Good answer.
Whatever season's open, I like bow hunting. I don't do it as much as I'd like to, but I do bow hunt. I do rifle hunt. Over in Illinois, of course, it's either muzzleloader, shotgun, or bow. I typically, in Illinois, you have to either draw a muzzleloader or a shotgun tag. Those muzzleloader tags are good for that second and third season, which are in December, so I always draw for I try and get in for one of those for my buck. But I do try to get some shotgun doe tags and fill some freezers while I'm doing it over there too. Now,
you mentioned something about decoying, and I've used decoys and had mixed results. I think that's the best thing. I've had bucks come in.
That's a pretty good explanation of using decoys. Mixed results.
Is that a fair statement, Marty?
Yes. very fair statement. It's depending on when it is. Do you want to use a doe decoy or do you want to use a buck decoy? If you're using a buck decoy, it's kind of like turkey. It's kind of like decoying with a gobbler decoy. It's going to possibly run off those younger deer or younger turkey, but that's okay because that's probably not what you're after. But then again, you'll have some of those more mature animals that they might be a little wary of it because they didn't get mature because they're dumb.
Yeah, and I've had them take a look, and I could almost see the deer thinking, wait a minute, I've never seen this deer before. That's just me. That's just me, and I've got
I've
sent
never
out.
seen that deer. Why is he standing that way? And, various things. There's so many things that can go through your mind sitting there when that's going on.
Yeah.
And how many of them actually true, or is it just he didn't want to walk in? He didn't want to mess with it,
He just didn't. I mean, and I watch him hang up. I watch him hang up out there.
Absolutely.
And go, okay, what's going wrong? The wind's right. I got some scent out there. I use plastic gloves or rubber gloves to put them out. So
aware of your scent control and the decoy scent control.
Yeah,
and then sometimes it's just not gonna work.
I guess you have to come to that conclusion. I did.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I put buck doe combinations out and just doe only, buck only. I mix it up because I want to see what's going to happen. And typically it's pre-rut or during the rut. Yeah. And it's just interesting. I wish if any of our listeners know more about that, get a hold of me at the whitetailrendezvous@gmail.com. I'd like to have a conversation with you. Yeah. That's for sure.
Basically, when it works, it's great. When it doesn't, you're always going to be second guess what you did and didn't do.
Yeah, because we've all seen the YouTube video of just a buck coming in with one of those flambeau, full body type mounts and just ripping it apart.
T-boning him, just plowing into him. Yep.
And it's funny, as you said, all furred up, and some people don't know what that means, Marty. So could you explain that?
Well, funny thing is, we have a little mini dachshund, Maggie, and she gets all furred up too. But typically, they go into beast mode or attack mode, whatever you want to call it, and all the hair right down their middle of their spine stands on end, and they're all furred up.
And ladies and gentlemen, just get out of the way. That's my
get out. I am on a mission. And I'm gonna bust them. I'm running them off. Whatever it is, they've got one thing on their mind at that point, and you better not be between them and where they're going.
Oh, I just think of a couple of times I've seen that. I'm going, oh my goodness, because I've had elk archery hunting elk and have them closed, really close, but I've never seen the fur come up on the back of an elk. I just can't remember that. I think maybe it's unique to whitetail because they get gnarly. I mean, their eyes get red and you go, oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, they almost roll back in their head and just
It's crazy, but that's why I love hunting so much because it's very interesting for sure. So that was last year. Anything else to add for last year?
That was the highlights for last year. So,
hey,
looking forward to this year.
Sure, and we'll talk about that in a moment. One thing I wanted to kind of tag on, you're kind of enamored with Southern Illinois, if I heard that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Now, why is that?
It's an outdoorsman. It's a hunter's outdoors person's paradise. Southern Illinois, it's very similar to Southwest Missouri, but there's just the quality and the quantity is so much better over there. There's whitetail, there's turkey, there's waterfowl, there's fishing. It's just beautiful country also. A lot of it is actually reclaimed coal mine strip mines, and you're like, oh, coal mines are ugly. You need to see the reclaimed stuff. There's certain laws that are set in place that when they get done with these strip pits, they have to bring them back to as good as, if not better, what the land quality was prior to using it. And that's this farm I hunt over there and a bunch of the neighboring properties and even public land over there. Pyramid Park is an old reclaimed strip pit area. And it's, there's tags specifically for Pyramid Park for public land hunting and fishing also. And it's just beautiful country, and the wildlife is abundant, and I fell in love with it.
Now, how did you find land over there? Did you have friends, or you just have some kind of relationship with somebody?
Several years ago, I actually purchased a hunt through Peabody Recreational Lands, which was a part of Peabody Coal Mines. And I went over there on my first whitetail hunt a guided whitetail hunt over there and missed the biggest deer I've ever shot at in my life after that point. And got to know this family over there, and they treat me like family. I couldn't ask for any better. But like I say, I try to keep those relationships with all my landowners. I try to do whatever I can to help them out when I'm there, and keep those relationships good and treat the land as if it's my own.
Listen to what Marti just said. Long-term relationships, treat the land, be a good steward of the land, help the people out, but treat it as if it was her own. And that makes you accountable to that landowner because
Absolutely.
You're his or her guest.
Yes.
And that's really important.
It is, because it is getting harder and harder to find people that are willing to let you come onto their property and hunt, because people have not treated it that way. People have ruined those relationships for you before you even step foot on it.
So, listeners, just think about that, and it's not a short-term relationship. I can remember a ranch up in Wyoming. We used to go antelope hunting years and years and years, and I used to go up and mend a little fence or gather or whatever the rancher needed. And then he passed away, and his son took over, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And I went up to him, and he says, "You're welcome here anytime. Just continue doing what you're doing." And, that's over 20 years of relationships. And they appreciate that when somebody comes in and takes care of the land, does some work, and enjoys it, and shares some of the harvest with the landowner, because they like good protein too.
Yes. Yeah, some of these landowners that actually let you hunt, they may not be hunters themselves, but they may like wild game just like you do. So offer to share it with them.
Thanks for that. So what's on the docket for 2016?
2016 is turning out to be very exciting. I put in for an early muzzleloader tag over in Kansas and got drawn for it. That'll be whitetail in the Unit 11 area, southeast Kansas, which is mid to late September. September 12th to 25th are the actual dates. And, I've never had the opportunity to muzzleload or rifle hunt whitetails that early in the year, and I'm looking forward to that. Going to be hunting with Brian Black and B&B Outdoors over there in southeast Kansas, Bourbon and Crawford counties. I've turkey hunted with him over there, and he's got a nice outfit over there, lots of nice whitetails and turkeys.
Well, that sounds like fun. Now, is that a QMD-type management place where they have minimums, or can you take any age class?
They don't particularly have minimums, but then again, I'm going to set my own minimums.
And what are they?
Again, probably 4.5-year-old or older deer for over there. Like I said, I haven't got to hunt whitetails over there, but I have seen some pictures of some trophies that have been taken with Brian and B&B in the past. And then he shared several trail cam photos with me through the years, last year and a half, and looking forward to seeing it myself firsthand.
Isn't that fun? You can see a deer, you can watch them grow up, and then once they kick over into the mature deer status, 4.5 years or older, then, you get excited about hunting them.
Absolutely. It's for me, and I know for lots of other folks also, deer hunting isn't just during season. It's a year-round passion.
Yeah, I was talking to Alex Rutledge from Bloodline on TV, and he's a 365 hunter, and more hunters who are serious about whitetail hunting, they hunt 365 days a year, and people look, "What do you mean, Bruce? How do they get a tag?" I said, "No, it has nothing to do with the tag. The tag is just one part of their year, but they're hunting the whole year round, and
it's not all just about the season when the tag's good for. Recently, I've been getting some brush hogging done. I've been getting some spraying done, and next up will be getting some rototilling done and getting some plots planted.
So you're working on your property year round? Basically,
yeah. Different times. I mean, it's not constant, but yeah, there's stuff to do at the appropriate times through the year.
So you're going to go to Kansas early. You got a muzzleloader tag there. What's up next?
Of course, that'll be right about the time bow season's starting here in Missouri, and I'll be doing my usual stuff around here, bow hunt, and then jump forward to November, and I got drawn for a Colorado mule deer on my second try this year. So I'm going to be hunting.
What unit? What unit going to?
I knew he was going to ask me. I think it's Unit 75. It's in the Durango area. It's southwest Colorado.
Okay, so Engineer Mountain or Winnemucca?
All I know is that we're in the Durango area.
Okay.
I need to do some more. I've actually got an outfitter on that one. That's a friend of mine, Mia Anstein with Wolf Creek Outfitters. She's a columnist at womensoutdoornews.com, and that's where I've come to know her. And fortunately I'm going to get to hunt with her. I'm going to fly into Durango, and she lives about 20 minutes from there. And she has a tag for that same season, that same unit. So we're going to get to hunt together for mule deers with rifle in early to mid-November.
Boy, you're going to tear it up. Mia's just a fantastic individual, conservation, and they run a great outfit down there. And that's going to be a great hunt. Good for you.
I'm looking forward to it. I've already started the walking and walking the stairs. I've got to get the air out there's a little thin. The Southwest Missouri girl's not used to that.
Oh, I live at 6,000 feet, Marty, and when I get to 10,000 and above, I'm going, holy freight! I'm getting older too.
Exactly. It's a few years since I've been out there, and it's got a few more pounds and a little less out of shape, and I've got to get ready for it.
Get on that Stairmaster. That's the only thing I can say. Find a hill and climb it, and then climb it again. Oh, but you're gonna have that's great country, good time to be in there, and that's going to be a blast. So when do you head to Illinois next year?
It'll be with Kansas and Colorado. It's going to be muzzleloader season before I get back over there. So besides going over and doing camera work and prep work and stuff. So Illinois will be early December again. So
tell me about the how you're traveling, you're going here. How do you gear up for that? I mean, that's the hard thing because you get different environment, different clothing. How do you figure that out?
Fortunately, with living in Missouri, I have the broad range of clothing for extreme warm to extreme cold. It doesn't get as extreme cold as it does here as it does in Illinois, but I'm already have that clothing for there also. So I'm pretty much set up for that because one thing about Southwest Missouri, if you don't like the weather, stick around 2 or 3 days, it's going to change. So I keep an eye on the weather prior to hunts and look at those 10-day forecasts and prepare for it off that. And it might come down to the day before leaving, you may have to change. And just try and take what you think you'll need, but don't try and take too much because there's just so much, especially if you're flying anymore. They're limiting you so bad on luggage. I don't do a lot of flying, but I know they're limiting it so bad and charging you for each extra carry-on piece. But just get your list done down ahead of time and just double check those lists and make sure you've got everything you think you might need with you and be prepared.
So just an idea, listeners, if you are flying, get with your outfitter, get with the friend you're going to get on the farm or ranch or wherever you're going and say, okay, how does UPS get to your house or FedEx or
that's
whatever
exactly
you
what
want to
I'm
do.
thinking about doing on this Colorado trip. I'm going to pre-ship some stuff to Mia, and so I don't have to take, of course I'll have to take my rifle with me on the plane and get with the airlines beforehand and see what their regulations are flying with firearms and be prepared and get there plenty early and plan on being scrutinized on flying with a firearm and just do it right and be polite about it and be patient.
Yeah, that's, I couldn't set it better because what we do when we're flying to Wisconsin or Iowa or wherever we're going to hunt and when it's get cold because I got to bring really bulky gear and I got to bring my Sorel boots and blah, blah, blah. And I just ship it out there. It's the same price as the airline. You're not saving any money because the airlines are going to charge you the same amount for that same bag. Yeah. But it gets there early. They confirm it, say, hey, we got it. You're in good shape.
There's no, my bags didn't make it with me. They'll show up a day or two later. Get it there ahead of time and know it's there before you leave.
And, so that's just words wise, and thanks for that, Marty. Marty, we're at the time of the show. Do you have anybody that sponsors you that you want to give a shout-out to, and then we'll wrap the show up?
Absolutely. Mossy Oak Camouflage, I'm on their pro staff. Browning trail cameras. Like I said, I switched to those last year, and I'm very pleased with them and the results I'm getting on those cameras and those photos from them. Battery outfitters and Pro Guide batteries. We have, my husband and I do some bass fishing. He does a lot more bass fishing than I do, but we do some tournament fishing, and Pro Guide batteries, we've used them for years, and they have not let us down. And they do more batteries than just for boats. They do any kind of battery you need, whether it's a car, truck, ATV, boats, they can take care of you. Winchester ammunition. I've been a fan of Winchester for a long time, and I rely on them heavily. Good products and a great company. But those are some of the companies that support me, and in turn, I try to do my best to support them and help them out.
Marti, if somebody wants to get a hold of you on social media or your website, how would they do that?
They can go to Facebook, and my Facebook page is simply Marti Davis Afield. My Twitter feed is MartiD_Afield, and also at Instagram. And
do you have a website?
And then my website address is MartiDavisAfield.com.
All right. Well, Marti, thank you so much for joining us again, and I can't wait to catch up next year. I really want to hear how your Colorado hunt goes, because that should be a good one. And so on behalf of all our listeners across North America, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me again, Bruce.
Break. Thanks so much, Marti.
Thank you.
That was fun. That was really fun, and sharing the story. And I'm looking right at that high time buck, and I'm going, oh, what a gorgeous deer.
We had actually during the first season when the landowners were and the local guys were hunting, he had that buck at 60 yards from one of the stands, and he took several pictures of that buck with his SLR camera, and we've got a picture of him, and he still had that eye guard and that fork point on him. 10 days prior.
Oh, he's a gnarly. He was a fighter. I mean,
he was.
I'd like to see the buck he broke those tines off on.
Yep.
Wow. Well, that's the show, and again, thanks so much for being on it, and good luck in your hunts this fall.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again, Bruce.
Sure, you listen to the next episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you're going to hear from Amy Burnett Hartwig, who is the media coordinator at Bowtech. It's a very interesting position that Amy has, and she's going to share some of her social media secrets. She's going to share why she loves to hunt, and more importantly, how the importance of knowing your gear and practicing will help you be successful in the field. Hey folks, I hope you understand the importance of wearing proper hearing protection every time you fire a round. One shot can damage your hearing forever. Whether at the range or in the field, ESP is my hearing protection of choice. The custom fit allows all-day comfort, while the technology within the device allows you to hear normal sounds like the rustle of leaves, the bugle of an elk, or the snort wheeze of a buck. Check them out at www.espamerica.com or call Jack Homa directly at 303-659-8844.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.